Everyone wants an R34 Skyline GTR, but with prices soaring past $200,000, it's completely out of reach for most of us. Enter the 2000 Nissan Skyline R34 GT, the exact same iconic chassis, legendary 90s styling, and rear-wheel drive fun, all for a fraction of the price. But is this budget JDM dream actually the smart way into an R34? Or are you paying top dollar for a slow, stripped-down disappointment? Let's find out if it's actually worth your money. To understand why this car matters right now, we have to talk about America's 25-year import rule. For decades, the entire R34 platform was strictly forbidden fruit on U.S. soil. But as 2000 model year cars hit that magic quarter-century milestone, a floodgate of JDM legends is finally opening up. Now, most people instantly picture the monster GTR, the twin-turbo, all-wheel drive superhero made famous by video games and movies. But Nissan didn't just build high-end race cars for the street. They built the Skyline R34 GT as a real-world sports coupe for everyday drivers. Underneath that iconic, low-slung body shell lies a naturally aspirated inline-six engine mated strictly to a rear-wheel drive layout. It trades heavy all-wheel drive systems and twin turbos for lighter curb weight, analog simplicity, and classic balance. In today's market, where collector hype has pushed GTR prices into supercar territory, the non-turbo GT represents something rare, a clean, accessible way to own a true piece of 90s JDM history. It targets enthusiasts who want the unmatched presence and curb appeal of an R34 without taking out a second mortgage. But stripping away the legendary GTR hardware leaves a big question. Does the GT chassis actually deliver a pure, engaging drive, or is it just a slow, empty shell hiding behind a famous badge? Let's dive into the details, step inside the cabin, and see what this thing is really made of. When you step up to an R34 GT in person, the visual presence hits you immediately. It shares the same sharp, angular body lines, iconic twin-round taillights, and aggressive front clip as the higher trims. From 20 feet away, almost no one can tell you aren't driving a $100,000 supercar. But walk up closer, and you start spotting the differences. You don't get the wide rear fender flares, massive rear wing, or deep front splitter of the GTR. It's narrower, cleaner, and honestly a bit sleeker. Slide inside the cabin, and it's a pure time capsule straight out of the year 2000. You get 3-spoke sports steering, deeply bolstered bucket seats, and driver-focus gauges. But there's one major omission. The famous dash-mounted multi-function display screen that monitors G-forces and boost pressure in a GTR is replaced here by standard climate controls and a clean, analog center stack. It's simple, functional, and surprisingly comfortable for long daily drives. Now, let's talk performance. Pop the lightweight hood, and you won't find a twin turbocharged monster. Instead, the R34 GT packs Nissan's RB25DE NEO engine, a 2.0-liter naturally aspirated inline-six, making around 153 horsepower. On paper, 153 horsepower sounds downright modest by modern standards. 0 to 60 takes around 9 seconds. But paper doesn't tell the whole story. Because this non-turbo model drops the heavy all-wheel drive transfer case, front drive shafts, and turbo plumbing, the R34 GT tips the scales at under 3,000 pounds, over 400 pounds lighter than a GTR. Combined with Nissan's legendary multi-link independent suspension and a smooth 5-speed manual transmission, the chassis feels delightfully balanced, nimble, and direct. You can throw this car into a corner, hold a line with total confidence, and ring out every single gear without immediately going to jail. The straight-six engine sings all the way to its red line with a mechanical, raspy exhaust note that modern muted turbo engines just can't match. But that brings us to the ultimate double-edged sword. On one hand, you get pure analog engagement, legendary 90s design, and bulletproof mechanical reliability. On the other hand, if you pull up to a stoplight expecting to blow past a modern family sedan, you're going to get a harsh reality check. Is having iconic looks and balanced handling enough to overlook the lack of raw speed? Or does the price tag make this an absolute non-starter? Before we reveal the biggest drawbacks and best buying advice, there's one critical detail about the current U.S. market prices you need to hear. This brings us to the moment of truth on the open road. When you plant your right foot in third gear, expecting that legendary JDM surge, the harsh reality hits immediately. Nothing happens. There is no turbo spool, no neck-snapping torque, and no all-wheel drive grip catapulting you forward. A modern Honda Civic commuter car will easily pull away from you at a stoplight. If your goal was to flex raw speed, you'll be utterly disappointed. But then you flick the wheel into a tight, technical double apex canyon corner, and everything changes. Without a massive twin-turbo setup weighing down the nose or complex computer-controlled diffs fighting your inputs, the R34 GT transforms. The hydraulic steering setup gives you feedback that modern fly-by-wire sports cars simply can't match. You feel every single pebble in the tarmac. You dance on the pedals, rev match downshifts, and let that naturally aspirated straight six sing all the way to redline. It's slow, yes, but it is insanely rewarding. Then comes the final shocker, the price tag. While an R34 GTR will easily set you back $150,000 to over $200,000 in today's U.S. market, a clean 2000 Skyline R34 GT can be landed on American soil for between $20,000 and $30,000. That means for less than the cost of a base modern hatchback, you get the exact iconic R34 silhouette, pure rear-wheel drive dynamics, and zero car payments. So, is saving over $100,000 worth giving up 2 turbos and a badge, or are you buying an underpowered shadow of a legend? It's time to make the final call. So what's the final verdict on the 2000 Nissan Skyline R34 GT? It isn't a supercar killer, and it won't shatter quarter-mile records. But if you judge this car solely on its speed, you're completely missing the point. The pros: you get the indisputable, head-turning presence of an iconic R34 silhouette. You get a lightweight, naturally aspirated straight-six engine, rear-wheel drive purity, and a legendary chassis that handles like a dream. All for less than the price of a brand-new base Honda Civic. The cons: it lacks raw power, straight-line speed is modest, and you won't get the wide-body flex or all-wheel drive launching power of a GTR. Who is this car actually for? If you're an enthusiast looking for a daily driver or a pure blank canvas for a custom build, the R34 GT is hands down the best value entry point into the R34 ecosystem. However, if you want aggressive turbo power, hold out for a 25 GT Turbo, or prepare to save up 6 figures for a GTR. As more year 2000 models cross the 25-year mark and hit U.S. shores, the R34 GT is set to redefine how American car culture views entry-level JDM icons. It proves you don't need $200,000 to live out your 90s car dreams. Now, I want to hear from you. Would you spend $25,000 to import a clean, naturally aspirated R34 GT, or would you rather spend that money on modern sports car? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another real-world JDM review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.